Now, we all know that getting strong is really important. We know the gym is a great place for this, and there's no debating this whatsoever. But we also have to recognize that in functional life and the gym, they're two different things. If you think about in the gym, we're moving very symmetrically and robotically and very precisely. And in real life, obviously, this is not necessarily the case. You know, who bends down and reaches into a cupboard by doing a perfect squat with equal weight distribution, with no rotation, with no flexion in the spine? Who bends in a booth and does the same sort of thing, and so on. So obviously there's a slight sort of lack of something that in most gym programs exists. Now, it doesn't have to be this way. The gym can be utilized in any way you like, and you can train any exercise you like. So the key is, obviously, if you think about the back itself as an example, then obviously because there's such a fear-mongering culture about bending the back and keeping the back straight all the time within life and within the gym, then of course people tend to be very focused on that. Now, is that necessarily the right approach? Is it not better to train the back in different positions that it will be used in real life? And you can do that in the gym. Obviously, what I'm not saying is to do a deadlift on 200 kilograms and then start to flex the spine while doing a deadlift with 200 kilograms. That would be foolish and a bad idea. The key would be is to bring in exercises progressively, like you would when you first started deadlifting with a straight back. You would have started with a very light weight and you'd have built up as your back tolerated it. And it's no different with any other exercise, whether it's rotational, whether it's lateral, whether it's flexion, bending and all of that. So other exercises that I think are very good to do in the gym is to think about how you move in real life and try to create some more realistic movements and load them up progressively over time in the same way you would any other exercise, so that it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Again, there's that fear factor of that bending thing, but there is research, and I'll put some research up here to show that it actually isn't a risk factor. It's been given this kind of element which is not true. And if you think about it logically, it makes perfect sense, because if we weren't supposed to bend the back, then we would literally have one big long vertebrae in our spine and we'd have no movement there, we'd have no muscles that control it. So of course, we've got loads of joints, loads of muscles, and they're all there to be used to move and get everything going. So you should train them. Why not? You're going to use them in real life and you're going to have to bend in certain ways. That is not necessarily the perfect manual handling way. So things like Jefferson curls, which is where you basically purposefully round the back, a bit like a stiff-legged deadlift or Romanian deadlift, but with your knees relatively straight and the hips don't do any of the movements. It's very much a lumbar flexion movement. And Chinese powerlifters do this as an accessory lift to help them with deadlifts. So when they're in competition, when they lose a bit of the straight back position, they obviously aren't exposed so much from being super weak there. So same goes for rotational movements and lateral movements. Again, if you bend in real life, you tend to bend through the back, through the hips a little bit, through the knees a little bit, with a bit of rotation sometimes, with a bit of side flexion sometimes. So you can make exercises that are like this in the gym as well. So you just have to think a little bit. If you're unsure, you can obviously consult a personal trainer or a physio or someone along that line to try and assist you with working out how you can devise this sort of stuff. It's probably good to do sort of more sort of traditional stuff maybe initially first, but that doesn't have to be done. The key is just finding the right levels of load appropriate for you at the point you're at any given point within the process of building on them exercises. And then you progressively load them and build them and so on and so forth. And the body's adaptable, so it'll get used to them, you'll add more load. And then in real life, think about it. If you can do Jefferson curls on 100 kilograms, you can do spinal rotations. And this doesn't just apply to the spine. Obviously, you think about the knees. There's a fear of knee valgus, which is the knee cutting in. Well, you can train that movement as well. You can train rotation in the hips. You can train lateral movements around the hips and around the knees to strengthen up the structures. And it's not just about muscle, it's thinking about the joint surfaces, it's thinking about the ligaments and tendons and various things as well. So again, think about not just spine, think about all the way down to the floor, think about the ankles, and then in real life that'll help you out and you're less likely to get injured because of that. So give it a try and see how you get on. And like I say, if there's any issues with it, you can always consult an expert and they can point you into the right direction.